Hey folks, this video is sponsored by Centera Investors. They're awesome. They handle our 401k plan for all the Warrior Poet staff. We love them, and we get the feeling they love us too because they have our same values. They like guns and they like America. And as we have pretty trepidatious times currently and ahead, we want to make sure we're planning for the future and being wise with our money. So if you're looking for a place to link up with who is going to keep cash safe and help you grow your investments, check them out, Centera Investors, link down below. And without further ado, we're going to talk about this beautiful gun. There we go. All right, hey folks, welcome back. Today we've got an epic video planned for you, and it's not just because we're biased and we happen to like our own videos, it's because it genuinely is. This is a review on the x95 Tavor. This thing is awesome. It's a semi-automatic bullpup rifle, and I've already tricked it out with some lights and optics and a can. And to facilitate the making of this video, we're gonna split our time between studio and out on the range. So I'm gonna be teaching some out on the range and showing you some stuff that I like and don't like, and also right here in the studio. So just so you know what's coming, this is what it looks like to flip to the range. And now we're back to the range and back. You guys did great. See, nobody got lost. We're still here in the studio. Someone out there is being like, shut up and tell us about the rifle. Very well. I'll start right now. Before I jump in, I will say that this gun was given to me. However, that's not going to stop me from trashing it with some comments, but also lifting it up with some pros. I've got 5 pros to cover with you and 7 cons to give you. Some of the cons, to be fair, will be more of I'm an AR-15 lover and this isn't an AR-15. But this video should really help you figure out whether you want to actually jump in and get one. So without further ado, I'm going to go through some features and then we'll jump into those pros and cons as I said. Here we go. All right, so first off, this comes in either 300 blackout, 5.56 or 9mm. What you're seeing today is a 5.56. Some new features are this Tavor over the old one comes with an AR-15 style mag release button, ambidextrous. You have the ability to change the pistol grip to something you like more if you want. I don't really care about that. It's fine as it is. They also moved the charging handle to a better spot. There's a new rail system. The trigger has been lightened to 5 and 6 pounds. I also want to talk about the trigger at the end of this video because I really wasn't good at it right out of the gate. And I figured out something that immediately made a huge difference. And I went from not so good to pretty darn good at it. So I like the trigger now that I figured this out, but I didn't like it when I first started playing with it. The gun has a rear center of gravity, which I'll talk to in just a moment. The body's made of reinforced polymer. That allows it to be really light, but also really strong. Cold hammer forged, chrome-lined barrel and chamber, pretty big deal. Backup iron sights are built into the gun. The front has a tritium insert, pretty cool. The entire gun is ambidextrous. You can even change the ejection port, the side that it's feeding to. It comes in black, FDE, or green. It has detachable hand guards. And in the 300 blackout model, you can adjust the gas regulator for supers or subsonic ammo. All right, guys, we're going to start with the con. I'm feeling a little bit negative all of the sudden. There's just not a lot of space for accessories because this is shorter, and you'd be dealing with this no matter what you were dealing with an SBR or an AK. Just not a lot of places to fit accessories. So if I wanted an infrared laser on the top, it's going to block this cool iron sight I'll speak to in a moment. If you like to accessorize, you're going to have to figure out what to do. Now, since I kind of dipped into the iron sight, I'll go ahead and list a pro, and that is your backup iron sights come with the gun. So you can flip up here and also in the rear, flip up and you have backup iron sights. Pretty awesome. The front has a little tritium dot in it as well, which I thought was really, really cool, and it's very easy to adjust these on the fly. I could use like a little knife or a pin to be able to push this detent down and rotate this around. So even without any special tools, I'd be able to adjust this. So I really like that feature. That's cool. If you bought an AR and you wanted to add some decent backup iron sights, you're going to probably spend somewhere between $150 to $250 on those backup iron sights. So the fact that it comes with a gun is pretty cool added value. All right, so we've got one con, one pro, and now on this next con, we're going to the range. Here we go. All right, I'm gloving up after about 5 magazines. Shot pretty quick, so things heat up. That's fine. A pro to this weapon system is the muzzle can be a full length, but because the barrel is inside all this action where all your hands are, everything heats up a lot worse. This little piece right behind the charging handle is the temperature of the sun, and it's exposed, and that's a spot where if you touch it, all of a sudden you're lighting yourself up. For every pro you get, cons come with it. That's just the way things work. Let's keep playing. All right, so that's 2 cons, now a second pro, and this is the biggest reason why I really, really like this. If you want a short-barreled rifle, that's an NFA type thing, or you add a pistol brace to it to make it not a rifle, but a pistol. But this right here, it is designated a rifle, and when you take this can out, really, this is the whole length of the gun. Now get this, because of the way this gun is built, it's actually a full 16-inch barrel, but it comes way back here and all the action's happening back here. So you get the benefits of an SBR without it actually being an SBR. This is a full-length rifle. This is amazing to have a shorter barrel when working in and around structures or vehicles, CQB kind of settings. It is a big deal to have a shorter rifle. This is a major, major pro. I've got pros and cons, but they're not all equal. This one is a really big one, and it's what attracted me to the Tavor in the first place. All right, con number 3, guys, is this girl's expensive. Once upon a time, you could buy AR-15s, and they were in stock, and you could get them for like $600, $700, $800 for kind of an entry-level one. This is where some of you trolls immediately hit the comments and let me know that you built the world's greatest AR-15 for $83. Congratulations to you. But the rest of us, you could find an AR for like $700, $800. This girl MSRP's for $2,000. And I don't judge you. If you want to spend a lot on cool guns, well then God love you for it. Yay for America and capitalism and buying cool guns. But the price is definitely a con. All right, we've done 3 cons. Our third pro is a rear center of gravity. When your center of gravity with an AR is farther out in front of you, you can become fatigued faster. Even if the AR weighed the same as the Tavor with all the accessories on it, you should be able to fatigue slower with the Tavor because all the weight's back more. It's easier to hold that up, particularly during a reload where you've got one hand fishing for a magazine and your gun is wanting to kind of tip forward unless you come down to retention during your reload. That's not really happening here. Your weight is back here. And while we've talked about that, let's go ahead and hit the range. I want to talk a little bit more about that center of gravity, and I want to go through some of the learning curve regarding the reloads because it's not bad. It's just goofy. It's weird for me. I like it overall, and I got pretty quick with this in a short amount of time. Let's go to the range. All right, getting quicker. That's like my 5th reload ever from this. I like that the magazine controls, it's ambidextrous here and here, which is more like the M4. I like that a lot. I keep inserting the magazine and rolling up to hit the button here, like on an AR, which isn't there. It's back here. And so each time I reload, I go, oh no, under there. I can tell from the pocket because it's just a turn and it's closer and I can keep the gun more stable. I'm actually gonna be able to reload from here really, really quick. It's just gonna take me more than 5 tries. Take some getting used to, but pretty cool. Just a little goofy. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Typically when I sling a gun, it's just fine, it hangs. I've had a sling on this gun, it's just off right now. But sometimes, even with ARs, I take the sling off and I just kind of carry it like a suitcase when I'm doing my thing. And this, you can't really do that because the weight wants to do this. And this is the center of gravity, small thing. But even just kind of holding it one-handed, if you're doing this, you're really using some muscle to keep it upright. You're using muscle, me not so much. Because I had some creatine this morning. So can we like add some like big traps in post-production and stuff. Returning to cons, we're gonna go ahead and do con 4 and 5 together, and we're gonna do it out on the range. One has to do with stoppages that can be induced by this charging handle. This really caught me by surprise and I had to figure out what in the world was going on. And the other thing is shoulder transitions and brass hitting me in the face. Let's hit the range. So here's another potential problem, and it's more of a, you just be aware. But if I'm doing any kind of C-clamping on this side, or I'm doing anything where a barricade may interact with this side of the gun, if anything touches this charging handle and pulls it back like that, my gun's not gonna work. You see, right there, and that was a loaded gun. It's a loaded gun, and if all of a sudden I hit a barricade that does that, my gun doesn't shoot anymore. And so that happened where I was just being rough on my gun. Now it'll work. I was just being rough on my gun working with barricades and had some stoppages and didn't realize I had bumped that. So it's just something to know. Don't bump that, right? So I do my shoulder transitions. This is totally hitting me in the chin. It doesn't hurt because my beard is a titanium reinforced alloy / hair. Seriously, it doesn't hurt because seriously, my beard is reinforced with titanium alloy. But that's something. You can switch this over, but if you're doing shoulder transitions, if you're anything like me, you're gonna get hit in the chin. Not a big deal, but I'm getting hit in the chin. Guys, on shoulder transitions, after I left the range, I realized I was an idiot, and I just wanted to go ahead and cut clean because I was doing traditional shoulder transitions and all my hand movement, and there's a different way that you could do shoulder transitions with this Tavor. So instead of moving my hands like the way you saw me do it, what I could just do is simplify the process like this. Now, I don't like really doing that method with an AR because though it is very easy to do, my hand is out farther because the controls and the mag is out here. It forces my hand out farther. It means that I end up with a really locked out extended arm like this. And it means it's hard to control recoil, and I just prefer to go ahead and go with the traditional shoulder transition. But with that Tavor, the shoulder transition could have been a lot easier for me had I had more of a brain out on the range, but it still wouldn't have stopped getting hit in the face by this brass when shooting on weak side. So a 4th Pro for the X95, and this is really a big deal for me too. Though the weapon system is short, like we talked about before, it has a 16-inch barrel. What that means is the round has more time to build pressure, and when it exits, it's going faster. And a faster bullet is going to have better terminal ballistics. In effect, it's doing more damage. It is a more lethal round. Furthermore, it's going to increase its max effective range. That's a real big deal to have the benefits of a short gun, no NFA tax stamp required. You can shoot it just as far, and the bullet is screaming fast, so it's going to be able to put down threats easier. All right, so now returning to the cons. A 6th con is what you see is what you get. I can't adjust this stock. That means whatever I have, I can't change my length of pull. Now, because my pistol grip is farther forward, I don't really feel the need to adjust for a length of pull like I would with an AR. However, some people who aren't already comfortable might run into that con. For me, I notice it. I immediately don't care. I feel very comfortable, but it could be considered a con, so I listed it. All right, the 5th and final pro is I really like that I have adjustable handguards. I can completely take it off, like on this side. I took the handguard off. I put my Surefire Scoutlight Pro on there, and that's awesome. On all sides, on the top, the sides, and the bottom, if I push this button, I can adjust this around as you see. But I've got Picatinny rail space so I can put my accessories there. What I found, just preference here, is I have this bottom handguard flush. This one I ended up pushing a little bit farther forward, and if I push this detent, it slides and then locks in firmly, not going anywhere. And I can use this little foregrip right here as one finger as a placement right there. This shields my finger from being able to touch that hot barrel, and then my thumb rests right there, and I really like that. And if I wanted to push back to my white light, I can absolutely do that. So this right here feels real comfortable for me. However, when I started playing with cover and concealment, because of the width of this, I struggled a little bit. Here's the struggle on the range so that you can benefit from it and see what I came up with. It's got a bigger surface to be able to C-clamp. It's a really big C. I could still do it. I was trying to kind of hold on this nub right here and hold, and I couldn't really get a lot of traction. Maybe if I hit here and hold. Yeah, that'll work. Or to come up and grab like this. Yep, both of those C-clamps work well. It's just a lot bigger C for me. Now at the beginning of the video, I said 5 pros, 7 cons. So this is the 7th con, and it's not a huge deal, but it's something that I noticed when I was shooting real fast and doing reloads. Because the action is way back here. Here's my ejection port, and it sits right where my face is. That means all this gas is venting in my eyes. And so when you really tune this girl up, you can get that eye burn that's happening. Particularly if you add a can, now it's kicking back even more gas, and that makes it very difficult to see, burns, and nobody likes to cry while they're shooting guns. So that's not a fun experience. It wasn't that bad, but you add a can and it can be. If you are gonna run a can, I highly recommend getting an OSS can. It's not going to change the gas pressures back here, so you're not going to experience any reliability issues right here where you will, or you could with other guns where now you have to change the gas system or the buffer weights. You don't have to do that with OSS cans. And furthermore, it's not going to compound the gas pressure back here because it vents all the gas forward through these ports. Now there's cons to that. I'll discuss it probably in an OSS video. I like OSS cans. There's strengths and weaknesses, just like I like the X95 Tavor, though there are obvious strengths and weaknesses. So figure out what you want and then go for it, right? At the beginning of the video, I talked about the trigger, and I want to end this video talking about what I learned on the trigger. I'm used to tiny and light little AR-15 triggers. I don't need some souped up trigger, even just the mil-spec triggers that it come with. I still designate as that's a pretty light and short trigger to me, however they come, compared to something like a pistol. After I'd been shooting on the range some, I realized that there was a huge pre-travel point that felt very similar to a striker fire gun. And as soon as I thought, it's like a pistol trigger, where you pull through to a pre-travel wall, that's your prep, you stop, and then you ease through it. And then as soon as the shot breaks and your sights lift, you go off on and you come back to that pre-travel point. Man, my shooting, my accuracy and speed on this gun all of a sudden went from I wasn't really thrilled about it to I felt like a stud. I shot a sequence of fire and I looked around expecting my cameraman to give me a high five and a chest bump. I felt great, but what it took was me understanding how this trigger was built. And since I'm already good at working a pistol trigger with that prep, stop, easy, off and on, and you know what I'm talking about, if you treat the trigger like that, man, it's a really good trigger, and I liked it a lot, but I didn't like it up until that moment that it clicked. If you want to know what in the world I'm talking about, I'd encourage you to check out my entire Pistol 1 class where I teach that skill. My full Pistol 1, Pistol 2 class, my Rifle 1 and Rifle 2 class, more classes are available. It's the full class. You can get it all if you join the Warrior Poet Society Network. That's our streaming service and app for when big tech finally gives us the boot and we're gone. We have an ARC, and we can bring other people there as well. It helps fund our movement in society. We spend a lot of money on it. Please help us redeem our cash. It's WPSN. Links down below. The app is available on Roku and Amazon and iOS and Apple TV. It's an app and it's awesome and it will change your life. And if it doesn't change your life, at least you'll have the app. Guys, thanks so much for tuning into this video. Train hard, train smart, subscribe, notifications bell all, like, comment, share, all that stuff. You thought I was going to miss it, but I came through. I said the script. See you guys. Like 20 times.